Hello, sisters, and welcome to the Art of Spiritual Living online retreat. My name is Elizabeth Foley. I am an artist and a creative catalyst. I help women get over their creative blocks and get in touch with their inner creative spirit. We are joined today by Mary Reynolds-Thompson. Now, she was on last year's retreat, and I loved her session so much that I said, Mary, I want you to come back, and I want you to do the same thing again. But I promise you the results will be different. Well, Mary promises you anyway. So anyway, before we dive further into Mary's work and I tell you more about her, let's take a moment to just get present here together so we can really get the most out of today's session. So I am going to invite you to just close your eyes with me for a moment, just settle into your body. Just noticing your breath as it is in this moment. Just feeling your breath as it's passing in and out of your nostrils. Noticing your chest as it's rising and falling. And now noticing anything that's come before this moment, anything that's pulling on your energy or keeping you from being fully present. Let's take a deep breath in together. And as we exhale, just let that go. And now noticing anything that's coming in the future, anything you're nervous about or anxious about, anything on today's to-do list. Let's take a deep breath in together. And as we exhale, just do the best we can to let that all go. Now let's take one more deep breath together, just bringing ourselves fully into this moment. Nowhere else to be, nothing else to do, right here, right now. All right, and I'm going to share with you today's reading. If you'd like, you can keep your eyes closed or you can open your eyes. This is called How to Pray Barefoot, Early Spring by Cheryl Racanelli. Go to the grove of trees. Go to the sacred grove of the sacred trees, those three sturdy beams near the stream, or the thin twins where you buy bread, or the full wild forest in your head. If there is any question about their sacredness, ask. Take off your shoes and stand with your flesh touching the earth, which is surprisingly soft and unexpectedly warm. Remember, as the sweet virgin grass awakens your souls, what is spring? What is eternal? And without uttering a sound, simply be in the ongoing prayer that exists among those trees, the earth, and the small head of grass rising between your toes. As you remain still within this integrating psalm, something in you will inevitably heal. And that was called How to Pray Barefoot in Spring by Cheryl Racanelli. So I thought Mary would like that because Mary is all about connecting us with our wild selves, with nature, and about us learning that we aren't separate from that. She is an award-winning author, facilitator of poetry and journal therapy, and an eco-coach who helps people discover and live their wild soul story. She helps people bridge the false divide between their outer and inner nature, earth and self, and become fully creative, connected, and alive. She is core faculty for the Therapeutic Writing Institute, the leading training institute for practitioners in the field of therapeutic writing. She's an instructor for Tree Sisters, a nonprofit ecofeminist organization with the dual mission of empowering women and reforesting the tropics. And she's the founder of Live Your Wild Story and Write the Damn Book. Her retreats, talks, and workshops are delivered both in the States and internationally. And her books include Embrace Your Inner Wild, 52 Reflections for an Ecocentric World, and Reclaiming the Wild Soul, How Earth's Landscapes Restore Us to Wholeness. So welcome, Mary. It's so great to have you here.
It's so lovely to be with you again, Elizabeth. Really, really lovely.
I've been so excited for this session. Your session last year just had this profound impact on me, and I've been looking at things totally different since then. And yeah, I'm so excited. But before we dive in, I would love for you to talk a little bit more about your work and about this idea of our connection to nature and how that can benefit us.
Well, I think it benefits us, and I think it benefits the planet. So I like to think of this as being a really profoundly reciprocal relationship. I just think we live in a culture that in the main has us humans separate from nature, and we think we're superior and different. And we forget that we literally emerged out of the earth, that were made of her breath and bones and all the chemicals and chemistry that is her. And she's our primary mother in a very real way. And we talk about Mother Earth, but oftentimes we don't deeply connect with that. And I feel that when we know deep inside that we were birthed from the earth, and that we carry this 4.5 billion years of wisdom within us, that it's part of our ancestry and our kinship and our wisdom, and that the earth is mentoring us, that it encourages us to step more boldly and creatively into our own lives. We don't feel so isolated. And I truly and passionately believe that when we step more creatively and boldly into our lives, knowing that we have this deep connection with the earth, that our creativity will instinctively and intuitively be the kind of creativity that gives back to communities, gives back to the earth, that is not about just taking, but is really about replenishing and restoring and rejuvenating.
I know that the practice that you're going to lead us in today is going to help us to connect with some elements of nature, but I would love to hear, before we go into that, like, what's your practice? How do you connect with that energy of Mother Earth on a regular basis?
Yeah, well, my book, Reclaiming the Wild Soul, is really a spiritual journey through 5 great earth archetypes. And so what I do every day is I walk up this hill I have in the front of my house that goes up, 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 up. And then I take this tiny little thread of a trail that leads to what has become my altar. And I pray to the deserts and the east. I turn in that direction. And for me, the east, the rising of the sun, is the desert place. And I ask for the wisdom that the desert and the east wants me to receive that day. And then I turn what actually is to my north, to the forests, that we have a lot of beautiful forests north of us, and south, but that's my forest direction. And I pray for the same thing, for the wisdom of forest to enter me. Then I turn towards the west, which is where the Pacific Ocean is, very close by. And I invite the spirit of the oceans and rivers to inform my day. And then I turn and face south towards Mount Tamalpais, which is this gorgeous feminine mountain that dominates Marin County, where I live. You can really see her shoulder, her breast, her waist and her hips. So it's a beautifully feminine mountain, and I ask for her wisdom. And then I look down at my feet to the grasslands, and I ask the earth what she has to share with me today that can help me really show up more fully for my life and more generously. So that's my daily practice. And then often I'll journal, it depends on time and all kinds of things that we all confront, but that is my daily practice.
That's beautiful. The directions, is that based on just what's around you and connecting with that? Or is there something deeper that led those, to connect with the desert in the east and whatnot?
No, well, I didn't have a desert I could look out on. But so I felt like that fiery eastern energy would be desert. And then I knew obviously where the mountain was in the south. So the directions, I wanted to look in directions, but they weren't directly related to the landscapes. What are more and more clearly related to the landscape to me are the elements. So the desert as fire, the forest as air, the oceans and rivers as water, the mountains, it could be ether, but I chose stone. And then the grasslands as earth. So
Mm.
I have definitely begun to more deeply incorporate the elements into the landscapes. So asking for wisdom of fire element, asking for air element.
Beautiful. Beautiful. So tell those that are watching that haven't done this before about what we're going to be doing today.
Well, we're going to be going on a journey that I hope breaks down some of that separation. I'm sure I know what a juicy community you have, Elizabeth. You have a really fabulous, juicy community here. So I don't think this is going to be a big leap for you as a community. I really don't. Because really what we're going to do is sort of unwrap our egoic smaller selves and connect into our ecological selves, what I call the ecological self, which is the part of us that feels the spirit in everything, related, kin, connected, open, you know, in that beautiful reciprocal call and response between ourselves and the world, to this wider circle of what I call the cosmological self. And that's the self that really understands that we are birthed from the universe, that we were there at the very beginning of the story 13.8 billion years ago. And that oftentimes in our creative process, or in our spiritual practice, it's that moment where we feel, you know, that it comes to us as a moment of grace that where we're just open to the flow. We know we're a channel for something deeper and greater than ourselves. And so what I realized is, though I came at developing the egoic, ecological, cosmological model as an eco coach, what I also realized as a writing coach is we can take this journey as creatives to widen and widen our circles of inspiration and belonging as we write, to become more and more greatly informed and inspired by the world around us.
Interesting. Well, are you ready to dive in, or do you need to?
I am. If everybody is ready, journal and pens at hand, that's all you need.
Awesome.
And your dear selves. Elizabeth has already presenced us so beautifully with breath and poetry, but you can never have too much of breath and poetry. So let's take another deep breath together. And another deep, delicious belly breath. A breath that connects us to ourselves, to each other, in community, here, now, in this precious and precise moment on our journeys. And I want to share with you a poem that really speaks to the widening circles that we are going to journey through today. And it's by Maria Rilke, and it's from Book of Hours, translated by Joanna Macy and Anita Barrows. Widening circles. I live my life in widening circles that reach out across the world. I may not complete this last one, but I give myself to it. I circle around God, around the primordial tower. I've been circling for thousands of years, and I still don't know. Am I a falcon, a storm, or a great song? But that's really where we're going to go today. You know, what are you? A falcon, a storm, a great song, a tree, a cloud? I don't know. We're going to find out. So one of the things that I believe so deeply about creativity is that it fits into this larger narrative of de-wilding the world, that we suffer sometimes as creative beings because the wildness that flows through us has been tamped down and squelched in many different ways. Mm-hmm. And there is a gorgeous quote by Thomas Berry, whose writings really mentored me a great deal. And he wrote this: "We misconceive our role if we consider that our historical mission is to civilize or domesticate the planet, as though wildness is something destructive rather than the ultimate creative modality of any form of earthly thing." Wildness is the ultimate creative modality, and it thrums through us, and it is deep in us. And that's so important to remember, I think, because we have tamed ourselves. We have domesticated our creativity, right? We've kind of, we say, oh, we can't say that, or that thought came to me in my dreams, but shh, don't speak. And I love that you're working with blocks, because it's so important, Elizabeth, and so many things block us. But this idea that we have to conform, that our creativity should somehow be conventional and fit in, is, you know, can we just blow that out right now? Because real, gorgeous, yummy things that you connect to are born out of the breath of wildness. And that doesn't mean that they don't get to get edited, and the left brain doesn't have to have its say, but it can't begin there. It can't begin there. So really this invitation. So in order to get us perhaps experiencing a little the rewilding of our writing and how that can occur and what it feels like, I want to take you on a little journey. And I want to begin with a little meditation, a visualization. So you don't actually have to do anything right now, but shut your eyes and listen and have your journals by your side. So if you want to lie on the floor, if you want to move to my words, if you want to just sit really comfortably where you are and plant your feet, whatever feels good for you, I really invite you simply to intuitively and instinctively allow yourself to find the most comfortable spot or spots moving, and start to take a deep breath and close your eyes, or just at least soften them. Just soften them. If you want to see a little, that's absolutely fine. Just soften and breathe. And empty yourself out. Really become that deep, wide circle, open and receptive. And just feel that. Feel how your chest is expanding, your lungs are expanding, your creativity is expanding, your imagination, so limitless, so limitless. And just allow yourself to feel that. And now, through your imagination, I want you to travel, to enter a place in nature that is utterly beautiful and wild to you. Perhaps it's a place you remember from your childhood, or a place where you try and spend some time nearby at the weekends. Perhaps it's a place you traveled to once and have never forgotten. Even a place that you only saw perhaps in the pages of a magazine, but felt, oh, so pulled to that place. So just begin to conjure that place in your imagination. feel yourself in that place. Notice the air, the light, the sounds. How does your body feel in this place? Now, as you look around you, I want to sense, perhaps it's a path, perhaps it's a ripple on the stream that is inviting you to follow it, to go deeper into this landscape. So just move more deeply into this landscape, floating down the stream, taking the trail, whatever it be, so that you feel deeply immersed in this place. And now I want your attention, just as you look around, allow your attention to be drawn to something around you, whatever it be, however strange or surprising or known or unknown. There is something in this landscape or waterscape that is calling to you, that wants your attention. And now allow your attention to pour onto this thing, whether it's a tree or a stone or a shard of light, whatever it be, a cloud. And now I want you to reach for your journals. So you'll have to open your eyes and reach for your journals. And I want you to write a description of this being thing that your attention has been drawn to. An animal, whatever it be. And I'm going to give you 3 minutes to write. Just try and capture every detail, the feeling, the texture, the sense, anything. Just allow that rich detail to come to you. And begin to find your stopping place. Beautiful. Thank you, everyone. So now I'd like you just to take a minute and read back through what you wrote. I'm just going to give you a minute there to read back. And just remember, if you're watching this, you can always pause the recording if you need a little longer. So read back what you wrote. And then you're going to do this very simple piece. You're just going to put this and name the thing, tree, bird, whatever it be, makes me feel, and just finish that sentence stem. This, whatever it be, give it a name, makes me feel. And then this, again, name it, this reflects my, this, name it, reflects my, just allow whatever emerges from that. And just beautiful. So Elizabeth, who's still writing.
Okay.
I am going to ask you if you would be willing, as you were last time, so courageously, to share what you wrote, or at least about the process, and then those 2 short reflection rites.
Yeah, so when you asked us to go to a place that we think of like as great beauty and a place maybe that we've been before, I immediately went to a place called Shining Rock, which is an area around here. It was actually a sacred site of the Cherokees long ago, and it's said to be an energy vortex, but there is a giant quartz crystal boulder there. It's really like a big series of boulders. It's a really amazing place. It's hard to capture in just like this moment, because it's really quite amazing. When you walk up to it, you come kind of from underneath, and this crystal is just, I mean, it's giant. It's like way above your head, and you have to kind of walk up the mountain and then come down on top of it. And then it has this beautiful view of the mountains and the valley, and yeah, it's just gorgeous. So that's where I went, and let's see, I said Shining Rock makes me feel strong, grounded, powerful, connected. And I said, this rock reflects my own strength and energy. It reflects my fortitude, my ability to keep going and keep growing no matter what.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
And I really encourage everybody to share on your gorgeous Facebook group theirs. And what I notice, and I hope everyone noticing, is now we're just beginning this breaking out of the egoic into a kind of a call and response between us and the world. So we're noticing how something outside of us can be a reflection of something inside of us, that something outside of us also has an impact on our feeling. We're not separate, because these things are always informing the way we are and who we are and how we feel and what we notice about ourselves. So know it or not, we're always in conversation with the world around us. So this just makes it more deeply aware. So now I want you to just simply go back to that place and that particular being thing that captured your imagination, and just, in Elizabeth's case, this gorgeous, powerful crystal, immense, immense crystal. So just whatever it was for you, just really reconnect with it, deeply reconnect. And I'm just going to give you a minute just to be with it in its presence, noticing it noticing you. And when you feel that connection again, I want you to reach for your journal, and this is your next writing prompt. I want to learn how to speak the language of. And for Elizabeth, that might read, I want to learn how to speak the language of crystal, or giant crystal, or whatever, however she would phrase it. So what is it for you? I want to learn how to speak the language of, name it, and just see what emerges. This is a free write, so I encourage you to write quickly and not overthink it. Sort of don't let your pen leave the page, and if you get stuck, just repeat the last phrase and keep moving. I want to learn how to speak the language of. Go for it. And I'm going to give you another 3 minutes. And just another minute. Again, if you get stuck, you can also just repeat the line, I want to learn how to speak the language. You can repeat that as many times as you need. and bring it to a close. And Elizabeth, I'm going to ask you if you would bravely, courageously read it if you're willing.
Yeah. Wow. I want to read it, and it's always like also just really vulnerable to share this kind of free writing. Right, but I will. I want to learn how to speak the language of crystal. I want to learn how to speak the language of an ancient rock that has seen so many seasons turn, that has held to the mountainside for centuries, watching the faces change. What is the language of crystal? It is never in a hurry. It knows everything it needs will come to it in time. It weathers whatever storms come its way. What is the language of crystal? It listens more than it speaks. The language of crystal creates its own energy. Crystal accepts. Crystal speaks in poetry. I want to learn to speak the language of crystal, the language that sparkles under the sun and the stars.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, beautiful. And I'm looking at your gorgeous crystals behind you. And what I loved most particularly about what you did with that writing prompt is that you turned it into curiosity, and you said what is, you got curious, like what is that language? And then that seemed to take you deeper and deeper into more and more awarenesses. So you got into not just thinking, oh, I want to learn, but what is that? And getting deeply curious, which I just think is a beautiful way to have run with that. I thank you. I thank you, Crystal Woman. Really gorgeous, really gorgeous. And we're not done yet. So, as you well know, there is always a third part to this. So that's the place where I would say, and I think maybe everyone can feel, is Elizabeth is really stepping into her ecological self. She's really beginning to get curious about crystals, the qualities about them, ones that resonate for her, that she longs to embody more and more. She's curious about the crystal. So this relationship, so much of relationship is about curiosity, right? Getting curious. So she's really beginning already to feel the depth of that curiosity. Maybe this is a conversation that's only just begun, that will go deeper and deeper. And maybe, who knows, this weekend she will be in her big crystal rock. So already she's now moving out of the egoic into this wonderful, connected, ecological, wider circle, this wider circle. So now we're going to do the third one. And, this is the cosmological self, where we really get that we are everything. That everything is, that we are the earth in human form, just as a crystal is the earth in crystal form, or the universe in crystal form. And it's this deeper, widening capacity to hold and open to the wisdom of the world around us, and let it flow through us, because it is us. And so to again return, close your eyes, whatever you need to do, stretch, lie on the floor, whatever is your way, and return to that being, that thing that you have connected with, and really begin to feel just that relationship that is deepening and deepening for you, and an intimacy that is deepening and deepening. And feel how much this being, this thing that caught your attention, is really so close to you. And in fact, not just close to you, but a part of you, truly inhabiting you, an element within your psyche and soul. And so just really open up to make that being welcome within you, as part of you, as indivisible on some level from some aspect of you. And now our third right, the, name the being. So it would be the crystal rock or the crystal in me knows. The, name that thing, in me knows. And we'll be writing for 3 minutes. And just another minute. Going into that deeper, deeper layer of knowing within you. And find your stopping place. And I know, I just, I love you, Elizabeth, for your courage, because writing, sharing your raw writes is hard enough, but with with all of us watching you, it's even harder. In 3 minutes is a short time. I encourage everybody, they would like longer. Some people have really short writes and some people need longer writes. So, just pause when you need to. But if you're willing and able, I would love to hear.
Yeah, I am. It's funny because I'm doing this whole crystal thing, and I know I have a crystal sitting over here, but I'm not really a big crystal person. I'm not somebody who like wears a bunch of crystals or like has this big, great, deep relationship with crystals. So it's also kind of like, oh,
wow, where'd that come from?
But yeah, okay, I will read. The crystal in me knows that I have already arrived. There is nowhere to go that is not already a part of me. I am a part of the earth, and the earth is part of me, and we are always connected. The crystal in me knows that it is best to listen deeply and watch the world go by peacefully. The crystal in me knows that sometimes you have to shed a layer of yourself and that it's okay to let it go, piece by piece, in whatever time feels best for you. The crystal in me knows that rain will make me sparkle more. Let it wash over me. Transformation is nothing to be afraid of.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
You know, I'm like kicking myself a little, like when this image of Shining Rock popped into my head, I thought, you know, darn it, now I'm going to have to hike up there. It's a 6-mile hike there and then back, you know, another 6 back. So like,
Right.
oh no, you said maybe I'll go this week. No, probably not this weekend.
Well, that's the beauty of imagination, is we can physically go there, but we can also, in our imaginations, travel those paths. And I'm sure that with that, Crystal Rock would really appreciate all the hard work that you do to come visit her. So, and did you notice any, just kind of standing back from those 3 exercises, anything that you wanted to share that you feel might be a wisdom for the group?
That's a good question. I think my thing, this was, I kind of started to share this earlier, that I think is really powerful, is I love what you said earlier about seeing how these energies in nature reflect things in ourselves, right? I was just talking with a group a couple weeks ago about, you know, when we see people in the world that maybe like kind of trigger us or something like that, you know, how that's a reflection of ourselves. And also in other ways too, when there's positive things in other people, that we're seeing a reflection of ourselves, right? And it's very easy for me to understand that. But this is kind of opening that awareness a little bit deeper, right? This idea that these pieces of nature are reflections of ourselves, and what we're seeing in them is that reflection of ourselves. Yeah.
Absolutely, it is that everywhere we are is a mirror. And you know, there's a wonderful line by Lawrence Durrell that I love, which says, each landscape asks the same question: I am watching myself in you. Are you watching yourself in me? And I love this. It's like, so that crystal is watching itself in you, and you are watching yourself in that crystal. And that to me is about reciprocity, because once you've done that, even the idea of altruism goes out the window. You know, we're supposed to be good people and do things altruistically, which is not a bad thing. But when you realize that everything is you, and you are everything, then you act in a way, because you know that in helping any living thing, you are also helping yourself. And it's just a different framework, I think. And in terms of our creativity, I'd like to say, because I think it's wonderful when you said, you know, in people, we kind of get that people are mirrors for either, you know, some shadow part of us that we don't want to deal with, or that we're drawn to somebody because that's something in us that really longs to emerge, some beautiful part of us, also out of our shadow, but as something very beautiful. I love this line by Marion Woodman, who's a Jungian psychologist who recently just died, and there was a lot of heartbreak in the community around that, because she's been an extraordinary influence on many of us. But what she wrote was, living the metaphors. This is what you've been doing through your writing process. Living the metaphors often involves a leap of consciousness, which forces us to recognize not only the gifts we buried long ago, but gifts we know not of. So those are the things that we are unaware of, that if an attraction to something, in your case, the crystals, may reveal a gift in you that you did not even know about. The leap involves taking responsibility. I'm going to read this twice. The leap involves taking responsibility for our own potential. The leap involves taking responsibility for our own potential. Metaphor is a gift of the transformative feminine, the energy that connects psyche and soma. And what she's really saying is connecting the mind and the body. So metaphors, and metaphors in nature particularly, break down another separation, which is the mind and the body. So when we work with metaphor in our writing and our creativity, often through using natural imagery, which is really where so much of language was birthed, is in nature's metaphors and imagery, is that awful thing of writing from just being in our head or only being in our body, so it kind of floods out everywhere without any form of structure, is overcome because the bridge between the mind and the body is made through the metaphor. It's a bit heady, but I just like, wow. Good old Marion Woodman. She just, wows me.
Yeah. Exploring those metaphors is really powerful. For sure.
It is. It's totally, totally powerful.
Yeah, I know that I'll be unpacking this writing for some time.
Lovely. And I will look forward to seeing you unpack it, and also just invite, anybody who responds with their own writing, obviously on your Facebook, I would love to hear it. I will respond to you. Let's continue the conversation.
Yes, I'm so excited to hear. There's so many different things that people can connect with. And I know last year when we did this, it was so amazing to hear, people connecting with rocks and trees and water and just all of these different elements in nature. It was so amazing to see. And just to learn from each other's wisdom, right? Like each of you have had your own experience with this, have something powerful to share, and sharing it gives us all the opportunity to learn from your experience. So
yeah, and to be witnessed is really powerful stuff. And I would also say it's not just that we're learning from, it's like we didn't just learn from your wisdom today, Elizabeth, though we really did. We also learned from the crystal wisdom, which is also your wisdom. But there was this other layer that now I'm not going to look at crystals the same way again because of what you shared with me about your experience. And so I think there's that invitation for all of us, like, wow, I have crystals, but I've never seen them that way before. So it's pretty wonderful.
Awesome. Well, I know we were just up at our time for the day, but before we sign off, I know you have a free gift for everyone. Do you want to let us know a little bit more about that?
Yeah, surely. It's called Rewild Your Writing Practice. And it's just got lots of little writing prompts in it. So I trust you'll go over there and download it and enjoy it and become part of, my Wild Soul community in the process. It will be very nice.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being with us today, Mary. Of course, as usual, I really enjoyed myself. And thank you to each of you for joining us today. I am just so looking forward to hearing what came through for each of you, and look forward to seeing you on our next session as well. Blessings, everyone.